Hello friends, and welcome to the video. So this is this week's direct path video. Here we're going to look at levels of awareness. Now, I promised this in the last video. When I actually looked at it, there's no experiment. And it really is just saying that the levels of awareness is something that is useful to take us so far, and then we let go of them. There's all sorts of different levels of awareness in spiritual teachings, not really quite the same as states of consciousness, because when we looked at states of the mind, we're really looking at the mind rather than now when we're looking at the witness. This opaque witness where we think, well, it's got levels in Advaita Vedanta, classical Advaita Vedanta, there are these different koshas, the different sheaths of the body, the gross and then the subtle and then the causal. And then we have, of course, the transactional reality and the ultimate reality. These are the kind of levels we're talking about here, not really states that the mind enters in. We've already seen that the mind is just arisings in awareness. And in order to look at this, as there isn't much to say, I thought I'd just give a recap of what we've seen so far and why levels of awareness are something which are useful. Certainly the idea of the transactional reality that we have to navigate in, and the ultimate reality, the thing that we are actually exploring in our direct experience. So all these assumptions in transactional reality, how things work, we saw that there is no proof for them. And I'll just break them down quickly. So the first part, we looked at the world. The world, and what we saw in our direct experiences is there's nothing outside the world. In our direct experience, we can't find anything that points outside the world. And then we looked at the body, and we saw that there is nothing inside the body. So this, in fact, the whole thing we did was we saw that there is really no inside and outside. The idea of that there's this hidden stuff inside the body. When you touch something, it is the sensation arises in awareness. We don't see it go up the arm and into the brain, but medicine is very useful. We're not going to immediately stop taking medicine or not going for checkups, spiritual bypassing. It's important to hold on to these teachings, but then there is a point that if you really want to advance, you let them go, but things will still keep going as they were. So then we saw the mind, and we saw some really shocking things like we can't find any sense of the doer. We can't find any state that the mind actually sits in. In fact, the claims of the mind that you're a doer, that there's this part of the ego that's making decisions, are just claims in awareness. We even went further, and we saw that that as a sensation, a thought, and an emotion, they seem so different to us, very, very different. But when we looked at them, we saw that really the only difference is there's a claim that they're different. Arising in awareness. And memory as well. We think that it links to something in the past, but all that is just something arising in awareness. The idea that you're a doer, we went through a little process of I feel my intention is to do this, the thing is done, and then I feel that I've done it, something tells me I've done it, and all of these are just arisings in awareness which are not really connected to each other. We also saw how many arisings happening at once. We looked at an experiment where all these different things were happening, and then we saw that the only reason that we think that they're all happening at once is because there's a claim arising in awareness saying that they're all happening at once. So I think I've made the argument, I'm not sure how clearly, that they are useful. Transactional reality and ultimate reality, it is useful to think in terms of transactional reality, or I don't know what you would become, but you wouldn't you wouldn't feed yourself. There is a way that the body and the mind is something that we don't change. The body and the mind doesn't really get enlightenment. We take this step back from it. The mind still makes choices and tells you that it's choosing. It's still, but it's something that you see happening. You still pay your taxes and do, behave well or behave badly, but you see that is something arising in awareness. We're not saying that it's something that you have to force the mind to let go of. Just realize what's actually happening. Be observant and be, sincere in your investigation of what is there in direct experience. The levels of awareness, the different levels inside awareness. These are just teaching tools, and they're very useful as you use a thorn to remove a thorn, and then you throw both thorns away. And that's the point we're getting to in this direct path exploration. The next video is going to be on time and space. We looked a lot at space already in the world part. So it's really going to be more about time. And then there's just a few more videos after that about letting go of the witness dissolving completely, non-dual realization, and then the question of if there is even one arising, or if that's, I won't say, maybe we can't say. Thank you very much for watching.